Today on the show, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. If you didn't know that Crystal Chronicles was the first Final Fantasy game to be released on a Nintendo console since 1994, then this show is for you. So, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, a 2003 GameCube game that is a heavily unappreciated landmark in the Final Fantasy series. This Final Fantasy game was the first ever Final Fantasy game to utilize a real-time battle system, and it was also the first ever RPG game to utilize the GameCube to Game Boy Advance compatibility. Crystal Chronicles was a lot like Final Fantasy I in the sense that all the main characters were silent and the story kind of takes place around them. This game was released split into 3 parts: exploration, battle, and story. Like, to explore, you had to battle to level up your abilities, and to progress in the story, you had to explore. The game was first announced in 2002 at Jump Fiesta in Japan, and it was designed with the idea that it should be more easily accessible than other Final Fantasy titles. For example, it has less of a focus on story and more of a focus on an easy user interface. As for the Game Boy Advance compatibility, this wasn't necessary, but it did add a whole other layer of mechanics to the game, and it was met with really mixed reviews. So to really understand the exploration of this game, you're going to need to learn the setting first. So the world of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is covered by this deadly gas called miasma, and towns and villages and people are protected by these crystals that generate a barrier that miasma cannot get through. There are 2 types of crystals in this game. There are big crystals, which are usually found in the town center of a village or a city or whatever, and then there is a crystal chalice that the main characters carry about with them. The barriers rely on a type of fuel called myrrh, which can only be found in myrrh trees, which can only be found in the deepest parts of dungeons around the world. In this world, there are 4 humanoid races, and some villages mix the 4 races, but generally bigger cities are populated solely by one race. There's the peaceful Clavats that look the most like humans. The athletic Selkies, who have some of the most ancient history in the game. The warrior, warmongering race of the Lilties, who look like flowers. And finally the Ukes, whose whole race is shrouded in mystery, and the only things we know about them is that they wear armor and they're primarily magic users. Through the games, it's actually heavily implied that the Ukes don't have bodies, they're just souls that inhabit armor. And I find that kind of interesting. It's like they evolved past the need for a body. So the exploration of the game generally consists of going from town to town to dungeon every year to collect myrrh. And along the way you'll encounter quest lines and try and advance the storyline. You will also have hints to a golden element. You see, there are these miasma streams, and the only way through them is to change your crystal chalice's element to match that of the miasma stream. But if you have the golden element, you can go through any miasma stream, no problem. Yep, you guessed it, it's the mysterious golden element that is necessary for getting to the end of the game. Really, the main story of the game is totally non-linear, but I will try and explain it as best as I can.
It's super effective!
So, the game begins with your characters leaving the village of Tipa to go and collect myrrh for the town's crystal. And soon after leaving the village, you encounter a Liltie and a Moogle named Stiltskin, and Stiltskin gives you advice on travelling with a caravan. Also, every year your characters are told a story by the village elder, a story about a pair of travellers who set out to try and rid the world of miasma, and one day they just disappeared. One year, the caravan runs into a Liltie covered in black armour, who's swinging a lance about frantically, chasing a light that stole his memories, and he cannot remember who he is. Also, sometimes our travellers will meet a Clavat named Gurdy. Now Gurdy is a poet, and he will always give our travellers a short and mysterious rhyme before leaving. And if you are very lucky, you'll encounter another Clavat who looks exactly like Gurdy, but this one's name is Hurdy. Hurdy claims to be Gurdy's brother, but Herdy has never met Gertie. So try and wrap your head around that. Years pass and our travelers can finally go across the ocean and visit the mysterious Linari Desert, and here they can transform their crystal chalice into the mysterious, unknown golden element. They pass through a miasma stream in the Ravenna Plains, which no one has ever been able to pass through, and here they encounter Mag Mel, the home of the Carbuncles. The party then go into the labyrinth of Mount Velenge, and here they encounter a creature that emits miasma from its very body, the Meteor Parasite. Before our party can defeat the parasite, they are taken to this plane by a being named Lady Mio, who turns out to be the light that the Black Knight was chasing. Lady Mio reveals that she and another being named Raim are both intertwined with the parasite, and both of them feed on memories. Now, to nourish herself, Lady Mio nibbles on memories from time to time, but Raim outright gorges himself on bad memories. Mio also tells a story to our caravanners about a Lilty named Leon and a Clavat named Herdy, who are in the exact same position that our party are currently in. She says that these two failed to defeat Raim and lost all of their memories as a consequence, revealing that the Black Knight and Gertie are actually the two travelers from the stories from the village elder. So clearly the pair's lack of memories messed with their mental state, and Leon became the Black Knight and developed paranoid schizophrenia, and Gertie was created as a result of dissociative identity disorder on Herdy's end. Raim then speaks up and says that he loves miasma because it causes so much pain and develops so many bad memories which he loves to feed on, which is why he can't allow our party to leave. But our party managed to get him very, very weak, but then he and Lady Mio merge into one and form Memoria. Our caravanners are able to generate all the positive memories of all the people they've been able to meet, all the lives they've been able to save, all the changes that they've done over the years that they have been traveling to defeat Memoria. After the battle, they are taken back to the Meteor Parasite, who they defeat with one final hit, and upon defeating it, a light shoots from the parasite and the world's miasma disappears. Our party then return home and live their lives in peace once and for all. The game was very positively received by fans and critics alike. Its visuals and music were especially praised. This Crystal Chronicles game is possibly my favourite Final Fantasy game, and yes, there are other installments to the Crystal Chronicles series, but none of them just capture that spark that this one has.
It's super effective!
Okay guys, that is it for today. If you think I missed anything important about Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, please let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Video Games, and it is super effective.